So we're going to talk a little bit about how Ian Garry has been dodging a fighter for over 12 months now. Media don't talk about it, MMA community don't talk about it, and he just gets a pass. We'll have to have a look at the Stockton badass Nate Diaz calling out Brendan Schaub, then getting absolutely smoked by bad boy Buppa himself. And we'll also have a little look at Conor McGregor, Khabib Nurmagomedov, same stadium, same octagon, same night, rivalries settled, Ireland versus Dagestan 2, quite possibly could be in the making right now. Before I get into them three stories, if you could hit like, subscribe and share, that would be awesome. Also, if you could turn on the notifications, because reading the analytics, it only shows that 4% of my subscribers get notified when I put out a new video. So if you could turn that on as well, that'd be cool. Cheers. So yeah, Ian Garry calls for war with Kamaru Usman, and then he mocks him for being silent like Colby Covington. I saw this story come out this week. Last week we saw Ian Garry talking about Colby Covington, that there was an offer put out there a month ago. He hasn't signed a contract. And instant reaction was cringe, embarrassment. Dude, stop. You're not that guy. He follows that up with calling out Kamaru Usman. Now, I'm not the biggest Kamaru Usman fan, but that dude is loved in the MMA community. That dude is like up there with George St. Pierre and all that sort of tribe. Not for me, but the self-awareness from Ian Garry to even go after this dude was ridiculous. So let's put together the story of Ian Garry, the 15-0 star who's on the rise. His last three fights within the UFC octagon were Michael Venom Page, Jeff Neal and Neil Magny. Three extremely underwhelming performances from Ian Garry. Some of them might actually be called embarrassments, especially when he tried to do jiu-jitsu like a 6-year-old in his first white belt class. That was cringe. Looking at them three fights, where do you get the audacity to call out Colby Covington, Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman? Who the f*** do you think you are? Especially when you've been dodging a fighter within your division for the last 12 months. You remember that shite about fighting up when he like racially abused Joaquin Buckley that time? You remember that? Like, I'm going up, bro. I don't fight down. But then he jumped all the way down to number 14 to fight Michael Venom Page, which many people thought he actually lost that fight. It was embarrassing, as I alluded to already. So Sean Brady is above him in the rankings. He's another young fighter who's an absolute badass. Like Jack Della Maddalena, I have never heard Ian Garry talk about these two lads. Ever. But I have heard Sean Brady call him out at least 4 to 5 times publicly without any response.
I think Ian just thinks that he's God's gift to earth, and he's not, you know, and I feel like everyone in the sport feels the same way.
And if Ian Garry gets through Luke, I want that. I'll maul your boy. Let's go. And now I should be ranked way ahead of Ian Magada Cherry, whatever your fucking name is. Me and Ian got the same fucking manager. Lloyd, run that shit.
Now someone lay out the equation here for me, because I'm not quite getting it. Colby is the biggest ducker in the game. He's been ducking Ian Garry for the last year and a half. Ian Garry's making video after video because he got smashed by Colby in regards to the whole story of him and his wife and what they do in the bedroom and all that sort of stuff. Ian went on this unhinged rant, this unrealistic rant about fighting Colby Covington. Didn't work out. Colby's ducking him. That's what we hear over and over again. Sean Brady, who's above Colby and above Ian Machado Garry, has called out Ian Garry 3, 4, 5 times. Ian has never responded. He said he only wants to fight the best. He only wants to fight above him, and nobody says that Ian Garry is ducking him. Weird, right? I thought that was weird. And to add insult to injury, with Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman kind of laughing and sneering at this young, snotty-nosed, annoying, whiny voice piece of shit from Ireland, calling them out over and over again, and none of them actually paying attention. Who's next in line for him? Maybe it's the rivalry between him and Leon Edwards. Maybe that's where his PR team are going to aim him next. Unfortunately, there is talks about Leon Edwards fighting Michael Venom Page. Usman doesn't want to fight you. Colby doesn't want to fight you. Leon doesn't want to fight you. One person who called you out 4 or 5 times does, but you're ducking them. So can we just start that narrative of Ian Garry is ducking Sean Brady and move on from this crazy, cringe, embarrassing call-outs that he's doing? Let's go to war. Dude, no one knows who you are and they don't want to fight you. Okay, I want to talk about the Brendan Schaub and the Nate Diaz stuff. Brendan Schaub was on his podcast last week. He got a bit emotional talking about a long-term friend who's suffering from CTE, who can barely afford to buy food, gave his heart and soul to the UFC, doesn't have a penny in his pocket. UFC, as we know, multi-billion/trillion-dollar organization. And I would agree with Schaub when he says that with that sort of money and with the service that he has given the company, wouldn't it be easy to throw over a couple of million to this dude and just like sort him out? Get his bills paid and get his head straightened out? Wouldn't that be just the moral, ethical thing to do. So I was on board with Brendan Schaub when he said all that, and I didn't have a problem with him getting upset either. Absolutely not. Nate Diaz took offense to it, called him a pussy, put out a tweet, had a little laugh about it. Schaub struck back, said, listen bro, you want to go? Let's go. Let's organise a grappling match. I was kind of like, okay, interesting. I don't know how to feel about Big Boppa coming after you like that, but that was kind of funny. Last night he put out a response video on his YouTube channel and he absolutely smoked Nate Diaz. And you know what? I was kind of happy to see it. Throwing shade at Schaub for what he was doing the other day, which was essentially making a plea to the organisation to maybe help out a friend who was desperately in need. Nate got a little bit cheeky about it and got smoked. And I actually agree with Schaub again here in this one. Believe it or not, putting aside the non-funny jokes and cringy attacks on smaller YouTubers and all that sort of stuff, I think he was right in this instance.
Guess he needs to do this to stay current. I retired 15 years ago, man. That being said, that's social media. This isn't real. Because here's what's real. I will fuck you up. That's real. I'm not asking for this. I don't want to fuck him up. I'm not trying to fuck him up. End of the day, if you walked in right now, I said, Chin, Case, can you guys leave? Only one of us is going to walk out unscathed, and it's me. Every fucking day of the week, 365 days a year, I will snap his fucking neck.
Yeah, so we had Brendan Schaub bringing the heat on Nate Diaz. And you know what? I don't think it was done by Nate Diaz for clicks and likes. I don't think he's interested in that. I think that he's just that sort of guy. I think he takes offense to everything and doesn't hold back and throws his opinion out there. And in this case, I actually agreed with Brendan Schaub. The dude is legit. He is a big unit. He is in shape. And it's an interesting rivalry that just developed out of nowhere, an unsurprising one. And wouldn't you actually love to see this come to fruition? Wouldn't you love to see Nate face down Brendan Schaub? It's so ridiculous. It's so funny. But also a little bit of justice and a little bit of smoke fired back at the Stockton badass by Brendan Schaub. Lovely. Conor McGregor responds to offer to avenge defeat Khabib Nurmagomedov, and this is a very simple and quick story, but a very interesting one, and one that I think will gain a bit of traction, because if you look at the weekend after the Bellator fight with Paul Hughes, people were talking about this when he said that he wanted Conor McGregor in his corner when he faces Usman Nurmagomedov next.
Conor, someone clip this. Conor, I want you in my corner for that fight, 100%. How cool would that be? You know, it really I mean, we might need some extra security that night. Oscar, talk to the man. We might need some more security, but I'm down for it. I think it'll be fun.
People got excited. Conor got excited. Conor responded to it. Paul, my man, I will go into the arena and support you 100% for sure. And if it kicks off, I'll be there before you could even say Nurmagomedovs. As juicehead inbred rats married to their cousins, your team and Conor have done tremendous job with you. They will take you all the way. You've got this. We're with you, brother. Bring home the gold. And it actually came in a week where I actually watched Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov again. Hadn't watched it in a couple of years. And I know the Khabib fanboys are going to roll into the comment section and be like, bro, he wiped him out. He absolutely cleaned his house. He's never been the same again since that fight. Conor was doing well in that fight. First round, Conor did extremely well. Second round, not so well. And third round, actually won that round. I believe the only person to ever take points or a round off of Khabib Nurmagomedov. And then we know what happened. He got his neck pulled. But also Khabib's scabby friends and cousins jumped in over the octagon and tried to corner him and tried to surround him. And he actually blasted about 4 or 5 of them. He busted one fella up on the fence. He dropped another fella with a left hand. I think that energy and that sort of rivalry will never die. As we know, Conor absolutely hates him and Khabib hates him. It's reciprocal. I would love to see the tension within the arena if Paul Hughes actually goes in there, fights Nurmagomedov, and we have Khabib in one corner and Conor in another corner. That would be so electric. Imagine the build-up. We don't want to take the shine away from this up-and-coming Irish fighter, but in the same breath, he called for it. That's it. That's what I got. As I said, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe hit that bell notification. Cheers.